and welcome to Nirmal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral. We have with us Ritu, Poddar, Head Mutual Fund Research and Product at Nirmal joining in. She's going to help us dissect the June data that has come out with regards to where the mutual fund industry is concerned. Number one, let me just quickly take you through the numbers as well. First, the industry AUM has continued to grow amidst the kind of volatility that we're seeing in the markets. We've seen a 3.8% rise with regards to where June 2020 is concerned. Let's understand what the flows are actually indicating right now. Overall, Ritu, if you go to see the average AUM of the mutual fund industry has declined 8.8% on a sequential basis as per the AMFI data. If you could just help us understand what is the reason for the same, because clearly for this quarter as a whole as well, we've seen Nifty, which has recovered almost around 24%, but the funds have struggled to grow their AUM.
Correct. So on the basis of average AUM, if you look at, then you correctly pointed out that quarterly AUM has fallen down by around 8.8% in the last quarter. Mainly, I would say we have seen how outflow pressure on equity and debt, the both fronts. So as again, you correctly pointed out that in spite of 24.5% or 24% kind of a climb back in the Nifty for the June quarter, fund actually struggled to grow their AUM. Basically, the main reason which I or we can see is outflow from the different categories. So that is the major one. And on the debt side, if we'll talk about, then we have seen a major outflow after this Franklin issue has happened. So that's the major reason which we can see from the quarter point of view.
Right. So Ritu, let me understand, are we trying to say that the investors are lacking trust and confidence right now on the back of the Franklin fiasco? Is that one of the reasons?
See, quarterly basis, yes. In the first 2 months, we have seen outflows in the debt side. But at the same time, if we'll talk about this month data, so we have seen around 46,000 crores, inflow in debt funds. Apart from, if we'll spare the liquid category and the overnight category. So liquid and overnight categories are two, majorly, corporates park their money, and even end of the quarter they just, redeem. So if we feel, except these two categories, then we have seen a very good inflows in this month in debt mutual funds.
Okay. And overall, if you talk about the quarterly AUM that we've seen, are we seeing any changes with regards to where the AMC's ranking is concerned?
So overall quarterly basis, if we'll talk about, then whatever kind of a fall in AUM we have seen in this quarter, then mostly, top 10 AMCs contributed around 77% of the fall. First point. And the second point, if we'll talk about the ranking, yes, top 5, there is no changes in terms of ranking, but next 5 we have seen two major changes. One is the Axis Mutual Fund and the IDFC Mutual Funds. These two AMCs actually has replaced UTI Mutual Funds and the Franklin for the 7th and the 9th rank, basically. So these two mutual funds, Axis and IDFC, has come up a step ahead.
Right. And how much of their AUMs have got impacted due to the market?
So overall, if we talk about the top 5 AMCs, apart from Franklin, we can talk, because Franklin AUM has majorly impacted by 30%. Other than, if we talk about the top 10 AMCs, then majorly around 6-7% of, on an average, the AUM has impacted of top 10 AMCs.
Right. And overall, Ritu, the total net inflow in the industry, if you go to see, is almost around 7,000 odd crores against an odd, probably, a 1% inflow that we had seen last month. What is the major reason for that? I mean, that's a huge jump.
one of the major reason which can find it out is the definitely the liquid outflow from the debt category. Other than that, we have seen a very good inflows in debt. And the second is we have seen a very tepid inflows in equities. So we have seen only 200 odd crores inflows in equities. That's a very bad number, and I believe people are taking booking profit or taking benefit of this rise in the market. That's what we can interpret.
Right. So overall, is the understanding right that apart from liquid, debt has seen good flows, equity net inflows are very low. So is it that, you know, the kind of retail trading that's happening, that data is also indicating that the retail level trading has been going up. So are people preferring trading themselves versus putting money in mutual funds right now?
I don't think so, because basically the retailers, they do invest in mutual funds through SIPs more. Maybe one of the reason which we have seen, such kind of show inflows and equities is there is a lot many AMCs are introducing the pause option. So maybe people are not comfortable with the, or investors are not comfortable with the market, so they are just pausing their investment and the very different things. So I don't think so, this can be mix and match.
Right. So from here on, the trend that you've seen since lockdown, say from the month of April to now, what's the trend that you're picking up overall if you see the monthly data, and where do you see it going from here on?
So overall, if we talk about the first 2 months, we have seen good inflows and equity, and we were not debt side. Yes, the inflows tempered because of the Franklin fiasco, but this month the data is altogether it's a reverse data which we have got it this month. So this month we have seen a very strong data on the debt side, but at the same time we have seen a very low inflows on the equity side. So going forward, we need to see, because at the same time, if we are talking about the equity inflows, then there is 8,000 odd crores kind of a SIP book is running. So this 200 crores net inflow data is portraying some other picture if we'll consider the SIP book as well.
Right. And any indications that we're picking up in terms of how markets are expected to move from here on the back of this data?
So this is the first, after so many months, we have seen that the large cap and the multi cap category itself has seen a negative, outflows, or we have seen the outflows from these basically categories overall. So previously, people or investors were preferring the large cap category because of the safer asset kind of a things. But this is the first month after so many months we have seen a negative flows in the large cap category as well. So going forward, we believe the if we'll talk about the entire industry perspective, then one of the thing is very much good number we can say, or see, is the ETF thing is increasing. So if we have seen last month around 1,000 crores inflows in ETFs, and this month we have seen around 4 times of the last month. So one of this category, passive investing is attracting investors. And before you ask, people maybe because of they are stopping their mutual fund investment and going for the trading. So I believe not that way, but yes, people are might move from active to passive at this point of time.
Right. Yeah, probably that's going to be a trend that we could be seeing from here on. But thank you, Ritu. Thank you so much for joining us. We will come back to you next month as well to understand how the flows are panning out and what's the kind of indication that we're picking up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.